Hey, welcome to Show It Live. Joining us today, we have the lovely Elizabeth Langford,
Good morning, guys.
and she is going to be helping us out a little bit more with interviewing and uh, doing stuff with Field. He was currently on the road right now. He's out in Richmond, Virginia, with Caitlin James, and they're launching the Richmond Showiteer
hmm
group, and then they're going to be
So
in
exciting.
Dallas. So you also have a stand-in with me being here, so
It's awesome. I love it. We
yeah.
get Todd on the show today.
So yeah, so we're excited because we have a special guest that we'll be interviewing a little bit later. But yeah, so Elizabeth, you just got back from a conference. Tell us a
I,
little bit.
I actually just flew in yesterday from Austin, Texas, but prior to that, I was in Georgia at the Pursuit Conference, which is an amazing conference for Christian women creatives who want to come to grow their businesses and grow their faith and just have 4 wonderful days at this amazing place called WinShape Retreat Center. It's also where the Connect retreat is held. So if you're familiar with Connect, I know a bunch of Showiteers that go to that. And I think that's put on by Caitlin James and Zach and Jody Gray. But Pursuit was fantastic. And we had an awesome ad in there for mobile sites for Show It in the magazine. We actually did a magazine this year for Pursuit, but it was 150 women in the hills of Georgia on a beautiful at a beautiful retreat center, and we had an amazing time. So it's good to come back home like fired up and ready to take on the world.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that sounds like a place I don't know if I'd really want to be there with 150 women, but
It's really loud, and we all come saying, "Oh, we want to like retreat and refresh and get energized." And it's actually really exhausting because we literally stay up till like 3 o'clock in the morning talking to our roommates. And it's that we have to go to sleep now. We have to go to sleep now. We have to stop talking. But yeah, there's a lot of noise, but it's a lot of joyful noise. So it was amazing. And it was awesome to have the ad from Show Up Mobile in the magazine. So thank you for supporting Pursuit.
Oh yeah,
we truly appreciate it.
And they had, I think Jason actually worked on their mobile site, helping them get that launched, and that looked pretty sweet. And yeah, we're excited for what they're doing over there at that conference. And
it's fantastic. It's
growing. That
group
of ladies.
Yeah, it's growing every year. And Karen Stott is just an amazing woman. And I met her through Show It years ago. And Pursuit really was born out of Show It and the WPPI conference, and ladies just wanting to get together and have a quiet dinner. And now we have something like 5,000 members across the country and around the world, and it's cool. So if you're interested, look up Pursuit Conference, and it's, I think the address is pursuit31.com, and you can find out more about the conference. And registration opens tomorrow for next year's conference.
Oh wow!
Yeah, October 5th through the 8th, 2015, in Rome, Georgia. So you can tell your husband you're headed to Rome, and it's actually just Georgia. But Georgia seems to be really fond as a state of names from Italy. I think they have quite a few from Italy that are names of their cities.
Well, that's fun. And you were telling me a little bit about some news in the photography industry these days. Like, what's going on that stands out to you?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it actually made the front page of the Huffington Post. So let me get over there on my computer. And apparently, and you may or may not know this, but the National Park Service decided that a way that they could generate some revenue was to start charging photographers, specifically commercial photographers, to shoot in national parks, and then actually have a pretty high fee if you don't pay the permit and you get caught. And I think that fine is something around $1,000. And there's been a huge media backlash with it. Like I said, it made the front page of the Huffington Post. And we live here in Arizona. We have the Grand Canyon. A lot of people come to photograph that. And you've always needed a permit for specific types of commercial photography at the Grand Canyon. And it's only $100, but you have to go through the process. I've actually shot there an engagement session before, and it wasn't an issue. But I think if you're looking to bring like a big crew of people, they want you to have a permit. But now the national parks are looking at the same thing. So I'd be interested to know if any of you have gone and shot in a national park, maybe a wedding at Yosemite or Yellowstone, and how permitting has come into play. It would be awfully rough to get $1,000 fine. For a shoot. You have to, start figuring in your permit cost and the time, because we know that the government tends to do things a little slower than we like to have things done. So I think you need to make sure you've got enough time to actually get that permit in hand and have it in your bag when you go.
Yeah, and that seems interesting because it's almost a little bit more like the private venues that you may have had to deal with that process prior. It's something that the government is also taking on a role like that with that.
I think the backlash really came strongly from the news media, who said, well, what if there's a forest fire and we show up to cover it? Are we going to be fined? And really it made it where, the big major networks could afford to pay the fee, but they could also afford to pay the fine, and the smaller guys can't. So there was a lot of concern. People started talking about the First Amendment. Does this violate your right to free speech and the freedom of the press? And so it'll be interesting to kind of see where it goes, but I think it's important that if you have a shoot park that you and see, do you need a permit for what it is that you're going to shoot? So
yeah,
I don't want to pay $1,000 fine. I don't have an extra $1,000 laying around for that. So, but there is a permit process you can go through, although it's a little hard to find what that process is. I did a little research this morning trying to find it in the national parks, and it seems to be, it's very specific to each park, and not a lot of information there. So if somebody knows more than we do, send it to us. We'd love to share it.
Yeah, we'll have to feature that on how to get a permit now in a national park.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we have Nathanael Matanick joining us today on the show, and just to give a little bit of info about him, he's a filmmaker that we've been working with for years. I think he met David J through church, I think, and he's been doing all kinds of production, but he's done videos for our launches. He's the one who made that awesome Show It custom mobile video that we did, and
it's beautiful.
Yeah, and just amazing work. But yeah, we'll bring Than in. Oh, is JT ready for us? And hey, Than, welcome to the show. There he is.
Thank you so much. This is very exciting.
Yeah. And I'm blocking.
So I met DJ actually at a photographer named Jeff Ship, photographer promo video for him. Oh. And he did a launch party. And at that launch party where they showed the videos, when I met DJ and I got DJ's card, and then I think I sent DJ like a little promo DVD. And then years after that, we started working together, and then I got to know you guys a little bit. So it's been a long process of getting to know some of you guys in the photographer world, but it's been fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. I did not know that was that connection through Jeff Shipley.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because Jeff is half of Tonic. Jeff Shipley and Jennifer Olmstead, they're fantastic Show It designers.
Yeah, they're amazing. In fact, I actually got started doing videos by doing promo videos for photographers, and Jeff's was the first one that I ever did. And I remember when he got in touch with Jeff, shot at my wedding, and when Jeff got in touch with me, I was so excited, because in my mind he was just like this, amazing artist. And I remember telling my wife, Jeff Shipley Facebooked me, and she was like, "What, Jeff Shipley?" Yeah, it's very exciting.
And now we're all starstruck with you. I'm actually talking to Than. But
well, you shouldn't be.
Yeah, and when you were on the red carpet and stuff, I'm like, man, this is the guy that we're going to be seeing here. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about that experience of you went out and decided to create a short film, and then start going through that process. Where did that start for you on that?
Totally, yeah. So filmmaking has been something that I've always wanted to do ever since I can remember. I was making home videos of the family. I was doing short film eaten by dinosaurs. I even made a film for a talent show in elementary school that got banned because it was too violent. There was dinosaurs eating people, and there was a train incident, and my mom stood up for me. She went into the principal's office and very angrily told the principal that one day people are going to be paying to see my son's films. I was like, wow, I don't know if that'll ever happen. It hasn't happened yet, but that was, it's fun to have parents support. So we did a short film last year called Removed. It's a short story through the eyes of a girl who's going into foster care, kind of from her perspective. And that came out of my wife, Christina. We were in training to become foster parents. And so that was obviously already something that was on our heart. And one of our orientations, the instructor was teaching us about, you know, if a kid could verbalize what they're, and I leaned over to Christy and I said, we got to do a short. They resonated with me. And being that that's what I do, that's kind of how I process stuff. If I can make a film about it, it kind of like, that's my way of processing it and kind of thinking through it a little bit.
Yeah.
What an awesome way to share that gift then. And because I remember when I saw the video and I didn't know when I saw it that there was any connection to Showiteer, or I didn't know about any of that. I just saw it go viral on Facebook, and it was such a moving thing to see. And clearly it came from someone's heart. It wasn't just a, let's get some attention. It was really very emotional and very touching and so well done.
Thank you so much. It really did come from our heart. And, you know, that was interesting for me because that was the first time that I really ever poured myself into a personal project. There's always like the work that I'm getting paid to do, and then there's the work that I was wishing that I was doing. And last year I was trying to figure out how do I transition from, you know, A to B, and kind of having this realization that I'm just gonna have to do it. Like, no one's gonna come to me and say like, hey, will you do this for me? So that's what we did with Removed, was like, all right, this is what we really wanna do. Let's just do it. And it's kind of a risk because you're not getting paid to do it and you're putting your own money into it. Mm-hmm. And everyone who's doing it with you is kind of taking a risk because without a budget, no one's getting paid, but everyone just is choosing to believe in it. But for me, that was such a good learning experience to see, you know, what can happen when you really pour yourself into what you really want to do, you know, kind of see what happens from there.
Yeah. What was that process like for you? Because I know like it's easy to watch a video and not know all the layers of, you know, everyone from the cinematographer to the lighting to sound, all those things, to get a team involved in a project like that. You know, what did you feel like your process was? Because I know there's a lot of people that, you know, might be watching and say, hey, I have a project I really want to do. What would I do to actually make that happen? You know, and what did that process feel like for you to do that?
Yeah, totally. So the visual arts is kind of tricky sometimes to do stuff, personal projects, because it takes a lot of people oftentimes. You know, it's not like you can just go out to the garage by yourself and build something. It's, you know, it takes a whole team. And so I think the tricky part is one, just having the confidence to think like, okay, I'm going to have to ask these people if they can do this with me. And then being able to convince them, talk them into it. So I just went to, before we started, I just went to a guy who's going to be doing lighting. And I went to, you know, pretty much every person individually and sat down with them and said, hey, this is what we're doing. We absolutely need you to do it with us. And if you say no, then we're not going to do it. So there was definitely a little bit of that.
A little pressure.
Yeah. But the truth was, like, we needed these people to do it with us. And we were so surprised at how many people were jumping on it. Like, people were excited to do it versus just being dragged into it. And I think that's really interesting is what I learned is people are really excited to be involved in things that are happening. And so that's something that I tell people who ask like, hey, I want to do something like that, but it seems like, you know, where do you get all the people from? And the truth is, if you say you're doing it, you really have to believe you're doing it, because the truth is it might not happen, but you have to just believe that it's happening. People are excited to be a part of something that's happening. And so going to people and say, hey, this is happening, I'd love you to do it too. You know, people are usually jump on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is huge. I mean, I'm just thinking back to, we were actually in the process of being licensed when you guys released the film, and for us to, you know, man, that the short film, you know, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it just really hits you deep on that perspective from the child. And even I was telling you that recently, watching it again, you know, it re-brings up those emotions every time I watch it. And man, it was so powerful. And then the thing that caught me was that here you are saying, you know what, this played into this, but we think we can do a little bit more. And now we're going to see how we're going to pull that off. And so what was your thinking as you decided to kind of transition and say, hey, you know, we think this has legs further than a 12-minute short film. You know, what is that going to look like for you from here?
Yeah, what does it look like? Who knows? We're still finding out. So when we were making it, we knew that there is so many things to be said that we just couldn't say. You kind of have to pick and choose when you're doing something really short. And we wanted to keep it short so it's easily consumable. And but there, you know, after it came out and after it got a lot of great feedback, you know, there's key things that really stuck out to us that we really wish that we had put in there. One of those key things being the birth parents, the parents of this little girl. Who are they? Because in Remove, they sort of just come off as bad guys, and they don't really seem like real people, where in reality, that's not the case. They are real people, and they're usually acting the way they're acting for a reason. In the same way that the kid in foster care is acting out for a reason, the parents are acting like that for a reason. And usually it's a cycle because they were abused or neglected by their parents, and so on and so on and so on. And statistically, you know, the kid who is being abused is statistically like 30% more likely to abuse their own kids when they have kids. And so it's really this cyclical thing. And so looking at certain people like the birth parents and just demonizing them is not a helpful response. And that's one of the things that I think I regret about Removed is we don't really show her parents as people. You know, they're just kind of the people that you don't like in the background. And so after we did the film, we got thousands and thousands of messages from foster kids who are now adults, which was so special to us. And a really a theme that they were all saying is, hey, I would love to see something about my parents. You know, I'd love to see something from my parents' point of view. And that really resonated with us because we were already thinking that. And so that's kind of what gave us the, like, you know, the idea, like, okay, maybe we should do it. You know, it had always been in the back of our mind, even when we were filming Removed, to do a second one. But it was kind of, we were kind of waiting to see what, you know, if anyone would watch it, and people did. And so now we're kind of jumping into this unknown of, you know, raising the money to do part 2. And we'll see. I really believe that, you know, that if this is an important story, you know, people are going to jump on it. And I think part of the whole idea behind the fundraising is just seeing, you know, how many people are interested in it, because, you know, it's so easy to make something and then just sits there on your computer. And so kind of, you know, I want to know that, like, if we make it, you know, are people actually wanting to see it? You know, is there a need for it?
Yeah. That's so good. I mean, I just love, I mean, I've told you that before, but I'm a Kickstarter addict, you know, just, I have to, like, you know, schedule time to not participate because I just love the idea of people coming together and creating something new and asking to be involved. And I think one of the powerful things about Kickstarter, beyond just being like, oh, here's my $5 to buy this thing and I get it. Like, you get to become a part of the process, you know. And when you participate in Kickstarter and you're getting updates and you're hearing the setbacks and the struggles and, oh, we're delayed because of this and that, or, oh, we're ahead, you know, these things came back. You get to celebrate along the journey of, like, this little thing actually happening and getting to the next stage. And so, like, I just love the idea of funding a film like this where you're a proven, you know, like, this is something that you know, are capable of doing and pulling together. But hey, why don't you come be a part of making that happen? And I think that's just so powerful, the way that can be, you know, to be a part of a Kickstarter project like that.
Clearly, there's huge passion. There's passion from you, and there's passion from everyone who gave to make the film, you know, from the sound guy to the guy who edited it, you know, whoever those people are, they were hungry to be part of something. And then there's all these people that are really hungry to see this story and even see the other perspective. Todd and I have talked about this a little bit. One of the pastors at my church is involved in foster care. And he said, you know, something they don't talk about is that the real goal is that these kids go home to their families, that there's healing and that there's a move forward, and oftentimes that's not the case. But I think it's great that there's a passion to tell that perspective too, and that there's still love for your parents.
Yeah.
No matter where you come from, they're your mom and dad, and you might wish that things were different, but it's not a perfect world. We're all broken, but I think it's amazing to tell those stories of how we move forward when we make things better for kids in our world.
Yeah, totally. So working on a personal project like that has also, I feel like it's really helped me in the rest of my projects for clients, because when I'm kind of taking the mindset of making them all personal projects, I find that I do a lot better job. Whereas, there's just a different mindset, whereas like, this is just a paid gig and I gotta do it and get it done. Whereas when I'm taking it and like, okay, I need to figure out how to make this something I want to do anyway, then I can get a lot more excited about it. Then it turns out better, then the client's so much happier. And so I really feel like it's been so helpful to do a personal project, and that has been stemming into other projects and other people getting in touch with me. But even just when I'm doing projects that I wouldn't be as excited about and making them personal for me, that has been really helpful as well. But one of the things about doing a project that's really personal to you, doing something that kind of represents the sort of thing that you wish you were doing, is if you do it well and if it really comes out of your heart, people notice it. And so what's been really fun is we've been beginning a lot of projects that are very much the kind of projects that we would want to do anyway. So now the projects that we've got coming up, they're sort of anyway, because I would want to do it, but now people are beginning to see like, hey, he can do this, and now they're going to pay, now they're paying for it. So that's been a really fun thing, but it's also been a bit of a risk, because there's definitely like a little bit of a dip at first, in business, and then, you kind of get nervous, and then you see it kind of coming back up. So we're kind of like in that coming back up stage, but it's definitely a bit of a, it feels like it's risky, but.
What were some of the obstacles when you started this project?
Part one or part two?
I guess part one, maybe, when you said, I'm going to take this leap of faith and I'm going to do this pretty intensive personal project. How do you get through those obstacles at the beginning and not just go back to the paid work that feels more secure?
Well, having to say no to a lot of projects just because there's only so much time, I think that's probably the hardest thing, is saying, all right, we're deciding to do this. We're going to have to say no to this stuff and hope that, that it works out. I think it is, one thing that's been really nice is we've got our parents in town. So we always know that if we fail at life, we can always go move in with them. And the truth is, like, I know it's super easy to see certain people and think like, man, they're doing stuff or they're successful, and I don't know if we come off like that at all. I know a lot of people have said things that to indicate that they think we're doing a lot of awesome stuff, and like the truth is, like, it's always so close to like going broke, like so I kind of feel like, I don't know if I'm the best example of someone who's doing something and doing well at it, because I guess I'm doing well at it, but at the same time, it's like we're always, for this, while we're in one of these projects, it's just like, it's kind of like, month to month, like, are we gonna make it? Can we pay rent? And I think that's like the artist in me. The businessman in me is pretty much non-existent, and so the artist in me is always like, all right, we gotta do this. It doesn't matter. It's gonna work. And my wife is amazing because she's a logistics person and she's got a great business mind. And whenever I follow her advice in businessy stuff, it always works out great. I just need to follow her advice more. But having her support has been super helpful, and her being willing to be in this with me. When we're doing something like this, it's like, oh, okay, I hope this works because it has to, or we're going homeless. But taking those risks, if you stop and ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Then it's like, okay, I was thinking about that this morning in the shower, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Like, what's the point of this? And then it kind of makes you more willing to take those risks, because otherwise it's like you're spending a lot of time working, and that takes you away from the family. And it's like, if it's not a real good reason to be doing it, why not do something else? And so that really helps you be more willing to take those risks. And especially if you're married and, having your spouse on board with you, if you can really like be in agreement on like, okay, this is what we're trying to do together. And so then when stuff starts getting stressful, it's not stressing out your relationship, because you're both in it together. That's the answer. I don't even know if I answered your question.
No, that's better than answering the question, because I just think that's great when you talk about, it comes back to that why question, that is, it's so vital, especially in a creative business, as you're looking at that if you don't have that nailed down, then you can get blown by so many things that are coming and going, and opportunities, but maybe aren't really, resonating with your why. You may not end up being, have that same fulfilled thing, and something that may not make as much money, but is way more fulfilling, and that is going to maybe have way more impact and be about who you are. So.
Yeah, totally agreed. Yeah, it's been fun. We've really enjoyed it. Even just this Kickstarter, and just kind of it's being in touch with people. It's been really enjoyable, and I mean busy, but it has been really enjoyable. And the fun thing about doing stuff that you're excited about is other people get excited too. And so, people are coming out of the woodwork and being like, hey, I want to help you with this, and hey, I want to help you with this. And we've had photographers getting in touch with us and saying, hey, can I come shoot on set? And that's just been really fun to feel all of that support. And I don't think you never get a chance to experience that if you're not willing to kind of take that risk, that leap of faith.
Yeah. Well, we blew right into talking to you, and JT's reminding us that we never actually played the trailer for the Remove. We should have introduced at least a little bit of that, but maybe we'll take like the next 30 seconds and look at that Remove trailer. So, see a little bit of what that is and what the next stuff is going on.
Let's do it.
Sometimes someone hurts you so bad, it stops hurting at all. Until something makes you feel again. And then it all comes back. Every word, every hurt, every moment. How could you ever understand where I come from? Even if you ask, even if you listen, you do not really hear or see or feel. You don't remember my story. You haven't walked my path. You haven't seen what I've seen.
All right. That's good stuff. And ended there with the removefilm.com, which is where the Kickstarter project is actually happening.
Yeah, so removefilm.com, there's a video that we made on there that talks a lot more about it, and you can see a bunch of behind the scenes from the first film on there as well.
Cool. Yeah, so you got 15 days left to go on that Kickstarter project.
Yeah.
And just plugging through on different ways to get it out there. Big one that you're doing today at noon. Tell us a little bit about how that idea came about.
Yeah, so a friend of ours had this idea to bombard the Ellen show on her Facebook page. And so we figured, yes, sweet. So she made an event. Right now, I think we've got over 350 people who have signed up to, at 12 today, California time. We're going to go on the Ellen Facebook page and say, hey, watch Removed and check out the Kickstarter. And hopefully if 300 people do that, they won't be able to ignore it. They'll probably be a little annoyed. They'll probably be like, who's spamming us? But they're going to get curious and they're going to click on the link. And that's all we need. Yeah.
It's good. It's good spam. That's the best kind. That's what you want.
So if you find it in your heart to do that with us, do it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So we'll get to follow along over the next 15 days and get in there and make it happen and share that out. And you're here as a Showiteer. You've been a Showiteer for many years, and you were just telling us you're launching your new site, Nathanael.co.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna pull that up and say, yeah, there you go. Look at this.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you can check out some of my stuff there, and give me your feedback. I'm still kind of trying to decide if it's good or not. So,
looks awesome.
It's lovely.
You got so many great projects that you did there. Now, did you design it yourself?
I did.
Wow, great.
I'm sure everyone kind of knows this, but it's hard to design for yourself. It's easier to design for other people.
Yeah,
that's absolutely true.
That's great.
Absolutely true.
Well, cool. I guess we'll probably be closing up here. And thanks again for joining us.
And if you haven't seen the full Removed, go watch it. Take 12 minutes and take a look, because it's so well done and it tells such an important story. And if you can go and back this project for the second one, I want to see it. Let's make it happen.
That's one of the things we didn't even mention, but like to be a filmmaker who created a short film and then just made it available to everyone to watch, I think is just amazing. Like the fact that you can just go there right now and go to your site and watch the whole film. It's amazing.
Thank you. We really want it to be available so that it could be useful. So thousands of agencies have been using it in training, and it's been really cool. The problem of doing that is it doesn't help get any money towards the second one. So but we're really glad we did it that way. So it's been fun.
Well, cool. Well, thanks again, Than. It's been great chatting, and we're excited to see where this goes. So
thank you. It's been fun.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.